Belarus, Germany and now France. On his first foreign tour since returning to power, President Vladimir Putin defends Russia's record on Syria. The UN calls for an independent investigation into the Hula massacre. Protests in memory of the 108 victims turn bloody as more executions come to light. And safe and sound on home soil, France 24 journalist Romeo Langlois meets the French president in Paris after a month held captive by the Colombian FARC. Hello, I'm Rebecca Bowring. Welcome to Live from Paris. I'll be with you for 2 hours of live news, sport, business and current affairs here on France 24. France 24's international affairs editor Douglas Herbert is at the Elysee Palace for us. Douglas, Putin's visit comes at a tough time for Europe and a tough time for him back home, not least because his approval ratings are fairly evaporating and there are fears that Islamism is on the rise. That said, Douglas, are there any incentives that François Hollande can offer Putin to boost France's influence on Russia when it comes to Syria? Let's look at the other side of the coin as well, Douglas. Doesn't France need Russia in certain respects, for instance, to withdraw from Afghanistan?
Gave him a letter to pass on.
We interrupt this report and take you live to the Elysee Palace, where President François Hollande is holding a joint press conference with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Next, a message of support from Ireland to Europe. The Irish people have voted with a large majority to back the EU fiscal pact designed to force member states to keep their deficits in check. The referendum result has come as a huge relief to the government, who had feared a no vote would block Ireland out of Europe's permanent rescue fund. Our correspondent Hervé Amérique joins us now from Dublin. Hervé, it looks like Irish anger over austerity wasn't enough to stand in the way of this treaty. A long hot summer of protests and clashes could lie ahead for the Canadian province of Quebec after the Premier suspended negotiations with university students. Staying in Canada, let's bring you the latest developments in the grisly body parts case sending shockwaves through the country. Police have named the victim as Jun Lin, a Chinese student studying in Montreal. Thanks very much for that, Dan. Now we're turning to Roland Garros, of course, the French Open tennis tournament. Day 6 of the action there. That's your sports news roundup. Now coming up here on Live from Paris. Could it be the end of the big gulp in the Big Apple? New York's mayor is planning to ban sales of supersized soft drinks, but not everyone is happy with that. That's coming up along with all the day's top business stories with William Edwards.